As a Ninjago fan, there are two things that I just know are gonna happen every season. Number one, Master Wu forgetting to tell the ninja something so the plot can happen, and number two, giant villain armies coming to fight the ninja. Speaking of the villain armies, we have gotten 25 of them in minifigure form, and in this video, I'm gonna rank them all. Number 25. Here I have the Awakened Warriors, and honestly, I feel a bit sad putting them this low because they come from one of my favorite ways of Ninjago, Master of the Mountain, but honestly, these figures, if you could even call them that, are really not all that special. They're just black skeletons with a little bit of printing on their face, and that's why I really couldn't put them any higher, though they are decent, I guess. At number 24, we have another similar case with the Legacy Skullkin. Now, these ones again are just pretty much regular skeletons with unique face prints. I do think these face prints are a lot better though. They're a lot more unique, they're a lot more expressive, but apart from that and a little bit of printing on the belt, these are pretty much just your regular skeletons. I really wish LEGO could have brought back the head molds from 2011, but I guess it's not free to bring back a mold you haven't used for nearly a decade. You know what is free though? Hitting that subscribe button, so why don't y'all go ahead and do it right now. Seriously, it would help me out a ton, and it'll help you to be the first to see the brand new video I'm releasing just later this week. I promise it's gonna be a good one. Moving on to number 23, we have the Sons of Garmadon, and these aren't bad per se, but they don't really feel like Ninjago villains. They feel more like bikers from Lego City, and I guess that was the point, but that just kind of makes them less cool in my opinion. I don't think they're terrible. I think the printing on them is okay, and it does fit the whole biker aesthetic, but it's just that they're no match for any of the other villain armies we're gonna see later up. At number 22, we have the Sky Pirates, and these minifigures for pirates are very good. I love the detailing and the design on the torso. The color scheme is great with the brown, the orange, the green. I love the scrap together vibe that all of these Sky Pirates have, but it's just that, yet again, these are pirates, and that just kind of makes them inherently less cool than some of the other Ninjago villain armies we're gonna see, like ghosts and snakes, and I mean, these guys are good pirates, it's just they're not amazing in terms of the other villain armies we're gonna see. Moving on to number 21, we have the Bone Army from Ninjago Corps, and I think these minifigures are decent. I think the color scheme is pretty good with the little hints of red. The shade of green they used contrasts very well with the black, and the detailing on the torso is good. I like the Bone Army villains that have the mask. I think that mask looks good, but overall, I think these minifigures are just decent, not much more. There's nothing about them that screams outstanding to me, which is why they're kind of low. Entering the top 20, we have the Dragon Hunters from Season 9, and if I were to describe these minifigures in one word, it would be messy, but I think that's for the better, because I think the random chains and all the random bits of technology going throughout, that really helps sell me the vibes of these minifigures, because, well, they're supposed to be living in a barren wasteland, so it makes sense that they have all these random scars on their face, and they have random bits of technology sticking out from under their suits, and maybe that's what I like most about these minifigures. I don't know. I think these are very good minifigures all around. At number 19, we have the Keepers from the Island, and I think these minifigures have a very simple but very effective and clean looking design. The color scheme is obviously very good with the little hints of teal to go against the brown and the purple. I think that looks very good. There's also a variant of these minifigures that has the mask, and that mask looks really nice. It really helps me sell the whole tribal feel, and I think that's very good. These minifigures are yet again not the most complicated, but they're good enough and they get the job done. At number 18, I have the Stone Army, and I think these minifigures have a very interesting look. I especially love those helmets. I think they have a very samurai-esque vibe, especially with those horns at the top. The armor piece is good, the color scheme is good with the black and the red. The design on the torso isn't the most complicated, but I think it works well enough. I love the silver plating on all the armor. I think that looks really good, as well as the big emblem on the chest that's, I believe, light green. Overall, I think these minifigures are yet again pretty decent. They're just not as amazing as some of the other ones we're gonna see later on. At number 17, I chose to put the Anaconda Cultists, and there are two vastly different variants for this minifigure. The first one is the regular human Anaconda Cultists, and I mean, these minifigures are fine. To me personally, they're just a bit generic. They don't have all too much unique and special about them. I like the tattoo printing, the snake bone helmet is fine, but if I were ranking these alone, they would probably be below the Dragon Hunters, though what really elevates these to the number 17 spot is the other variant, which I love. These are the Anaconda Cultists transformed into Anaconda, and man, what can I say? I'm just a sucker for the Anaconda headpiece, the tailpiece. It just looks so good. The detailing is perfect. I love that armor piece, and these minifigures are really good. The regular human Anaconda cultists, not so much. So overall, I decided to balance it here around number 17. Moving on to number 16, we have a fairly recent villain army. These are the Dragonians from Dragon's Rising Season 3 Part 1. And I think on paper, these have a pretty cool design. I like that armor and the mask piece. I like how similar it is to a dragon. And you can have a dragon piece on the back which has wings. That just makes these minifigures look so cool. But what really drags them down for me is probably the color scheme. I don't think the red and the gray work together super well. And the design on the torso is good. I like those little nicks on the armor, but overall it's just not all that special, and the color scheme kind of makes these minifigures feel a bit bland for me. Entering the top 15, we have the snakes from Ninjago core, and I think the head mold on these guys just looks so good. We're definitely going to see it going down the list, and I think it works well with the color scheme they chose. I love the little bits of teal and the scales showing throughout this build, and overall I think the torso was designed well enough. There's two different types of these snakes. The gray ones have a more bulkier look, and the orange ones have a more tech feel look with straps and stuff. Both of them I think look very decent, and overall these minifigures are good. Moving on to number 14, we have the red visors, and unironically the best part about these minifigures is the red visor. I think it looks really good. I love the shaping of it, and the overall helmet and the visor shaping gives these minifigures a very video game-esque look. That's not all though. I think the torso does well to carry on that video game look. The torso design is fairly simple with just a bunch of red going throughout and some teal stripes, but I think it works well enough. I like that 404 badge, and the armor is good enough, so I think these minifigures fit the vibe they were going for, and that's why I like them. At number 13, we have minifigures which I feel like did the tech vibe a bit better. These are the Ninjoids from 2014. Honestly, I just love the mask on these guys. I love how half of it is kind of like metal, and then it all converges on one eye to make a laser with those 3 dots. I think that looks very cool, and it's a very unique twist on the original ninja mask that I think works well on these minifigures. The torso design I think is also very good with the pipes. The purple and the red do well to break up the otherwise pretty much boring color scheme with gray and black. I think without the purple and the red, these minifigures could have been pretty boring, but I don't think they're super boring. I think they look good, and that's why they're close to the top 10. Around the halfway point of this list at number 12, we have the Pyro Vipers and the Pyro Whippers. I decided to put these all in one category because they're very similar. They're pretty much the same, just have slightly different head molds. Speaking of the head molds, I think both of them are good. The Pyro Whipper head mold is the same head mold we saw with the core snakes, and of course that's very nice. I feel like the transparent orange and the brown don't contrast enough, but that's just me, and it's very minor. I think overall it does look good. The Pyro Viper heads I think look even better because they have like flames coming out of the side. Those look really nice. The armor is very good, and the torso design is fantastic. It has that mummy vibe, especially with the fire coming out of it, the burnt mummy straps. I think they just look so good, and these minifigures, like mummified snakes, you can't go wrong with mummified snakes. I absolutely love these guys. Going on to number 11, we have the other villainous faction from season 11, the Blizzard Samurai. I think these minifigures just managed to incorporate the transparent blue ice so well, especially for the samurai that have the actual helmets. It looks so nice to have just ice randomly jutting out of the armor. That looks really nice. The armor piece overall is very good. I'm not really sure what to feel about all of the red used on these guys, but I think overall it does work with the blue enough that I'm okay with it. The other variants of the Blizzard Samurai I don't think are quite as good, but they're also very good. They retain that icy feel, they retain the red, so overall not too many complaints with these guys. I love how they fit that icy spooky feel. Entering the top 10, we have another villain army with multiple variants. This time I chose the Imperium Warriors. I think these guys have a very unique color scheme with the black and the gold, and I think it works well on most of these guys. I think some of them, like the Imperium Claw Hunters, use a bit too much gold, but for the rest of them I think they managed to balance out the gold and the black well enough that I think it works, especially with the little bits of orange technology going throughout. It really gives them the high-tech vibe that Imperium is supposed to have, and I really like it for that. So overall I think these minifigures have a very solid color scheme, a very solid torso design that really captures its essence in this show. It's number 9, and we're back to snakes with the Vermilion Warriors from season 7. There are quite a few variants of these guys, but all of them share a couple of things in common. Firstly, they all have gunmetal gray, which is used to give them an armored feel that I think works well with both the orange and the red Vermilion Warriors. They also have little snakes going on throughout their torso design. For those of you that don't know, in the show, these guys are basically made with a bunch of little snakes, and that was incorporated in this design, which I think works well. Overall, I think these guys just look creepy and unsettling in the best way possible, and that's what I absolutely love about them. Continuing the snake trend with number 8, we have the Murray guards. I'm 75% sure I'm mispronouncing that, so please don't get mad at me in the comments. Like I've been saying throughout this video, colors can really make or break a minifigure, and in this case, they definitely help make this minifigure really good. The black and the teal color scheme just looks so good, topped off by the little bit of golden armor. I don't know, just something about that color combination really speaks to me. The torso design is also fantastic. You have some underwater-esque design, you have the six packs, which I think are really funny because I mean these are supposed to be guards, no wonder they'll be jacked. So overall I think these minifigures are very good. The color scheme is fantastic, the design is very good on the torso especially. I like the armor piece and it just completes an overall fantastic minifigure. At number 7, we have an absolute fan favorite of all time. We have the Ghost Army from Ninjago Season 5 Possession. Honestly, there is a lot to love about these ghosts. Firstly, they're cursed spirits, so obviously they're supposed to be on the more ragged, tattered side, and that's perfectly represented by these minifigures. They especially came up with this armor piece that's like the basic Ninjago armor, but with like cloth draping over it. They used it for the Moro, they used it for Bansha and Soul Archer, and it just looks so fantastic. Also, even for the minifigures that don't have that armor, they have some sort of the tattered cloth design, and that looks so great. The color scheme is also pretty good. You have green, you have blue, you have purple, you have black. I will say I feel like the blue, the purple, and the black mix a little bit too much together, and on the minifigures where it's kind of used incorrectly, it can feel a little bit like just bland, but for most of the minifigures it looks great with the little light green accents, and that's what I really love about these minifigures. They have that whole spooky tattered aspect topped off by a fantastic color scheme and some great hoods, so no doubt these guys are going to be close to the top 5. Next up at number 6, we have the very first Ninjago villain army, the Skulkin. And I just have to say it, these have the simple classic Ninjago charm. If you look outside of the head molds, I mean there's really not a whole lot to these minifigures. They're just your regular skeletons, but they have maybe an armor piece or printing on the belt or something like that. But they're not all that complicated, but maybe that's what makes them so good, because the molding really shines on these minifigures. On these types of minifigures, the mold can either make or break the minifigure, and they definitely make these minifigures legendary. The molds are so big, the printing is very good looking, and they just give these minifigures a lot of personality in my opinion, and that's why I really love them. There's not too much more to say on it. The molds are just fantastic, and I love them for it. Speaking of great molds, entering the top 5, we have the Vengestone army from Crystallized, and these minifigures just encompass so much of what made the past minifigures we've seen on this ranking so great. Firstly, the head mold is amazing. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be exactly, but they definitely made it work, dual molded in gunmetal gray and transparent pink. Going on to the torso, it has a lot of intricately drawn detailing, like you have those yellow cracks going throughout, and you also have some white detailing in the purple sections. I think that just looks fantastic. It adds a lot of depth to this minifigure, which was definitely what this minifigure needed. This minifigure also utilizes a lot of transparent parts, which I always love transparent parts. I think they look great, and they look even better on this minifigure since one of its main colors is pink, and transparent pink just, they made it work here. What more can I say? It just looks amazing. You have a little bit of purple too that ties everything together. Overall, these minifigures literally do nothing wrong. I think they look fantastic in images. They look even better in person, and I absolutely love them. Moving on to number 4 now, we have another fairly recent villain army. These are the Wolf Mask Warriors from Dragons Rising Season 2 Part 1. Boy, I think these minifigures just fire on all cylinders. Starting off with the color scheme, the dark blue and the purple might blend a little bit together, but I feel like there's enough light blue and gray that it kind of breaks it up, and overall just gives this minifigure a very nice look. I also think that the torso designing was done very well. It looks like there's some sort of robes that have writing on it and some light blue stuff that looks like weapons, but I'm not really sure what it is. The armor piece is fine, and of course this minifigure also has a fantastic head mold. I love that wolf mask piece. I think it just looks kind of creepy and ominous, and at the same time somewhat fearsome. I like the light blue eyes as well as the dark blue like contrast in the background. Everything else is dark blue, so it makes the light blue eyes and mouth really shine, which I love. These minifigures, they just have a lot of personality to them because of that mask, and it's backed up by a very solid torso and color scheme, so I really like these guys as well. Entering the top 3 now, we have the Wolf Mask Warriors again, but this time from Dragon's Rising Season 2 Part 2. I think that these ones are a little bit better than the other ones because they have a slightly different color scheme, and I feel like the red and the purple just contrast a lot more than the light blue and the dark blue. They also contrast more against the gunmetal gray, which is the basis of the torso and the legs, so you have that whole purple and red strip going down the torso, and I feel like that's just vibrant and it pops out so much, and that just gives this minifigure a very vibrant look that I happen to prefer over the original. Certain variants of this minifigure also come with like these big red claw arms, which I won't really count as part of the minifigure, but hey, I think they look really cool. So I think this minifigure, yet again, it does a lot of the right things that the previous Wolf Mask Warriors did, but it also has just a slightly better color scheme in my opinion. Entering the top 2, I have a minifigure I'm pretty sure no one expected me to put this high. This is the Spectral Dragonian from Dragon's Rising Season 3 Part 2. Now, could this be recency bias? Maybe. Is there a chance that when I get these minifigures in hand, I'm gonna absolutely hate them? For sure, but I think from what I've been seeing, these minifigures look genuinely fantastic, and that all has to do with the fact that they just picked the nicest colors possible. The choice to make this light bluish color the background for the torso and the legs really paid off, as I think it's very pleasing to look at, and it contrasts surprisingly well with the red and the dark blue. The red and the dark blue are also used like very sparingly. There's just little hints of them, but because there's so little of them, they pop out and they really make this minifigure look very nice. The only thing that I feel is a bit out of place is the headpiece, which is gunmetal gray, but it's not that big of a deal because there is some gray detailing on the torso, so I mean, it does kind of fit in. Overall, this minifigure does have a very simple torso design, but the colors just really carry it for me. Along with the transparent pieces, they just perfectly give this the spectral, ghostly vibe I would have wanted, as well as being extremely pleasant to look at in my opinion. Now though, to unveil the villain army that has been sitting at the top of my list for the last 13 years, we have the Serpentine. Honestly, I'm not sure LEGO could ever top these. I mean, they came very close with the Spectral Dragonians, but there's just something special about these Serpentine, and that has to do with the head molds and the tail molds. Honestly, the torso and leg design in and of itself isn't anything too special. It's very simple, but it gets the job done, and it allows those head and tail molds to really shine, and oh boy do they shine bright. Each of the individual snake tribes has their own unique head mold, which is just, it's so creative and unique, especially with the Fangpires. I love the double heads, I think they look so cool. I also love the Venomari, I love all those little teeth coming out of the side, they look fantastic, and I mean, I'm at a loss of words just explaining these, they just look cool. That's it. So that completes my ranking of every single Ninjago villain army we have ever gotten. We've gotten quite a few bangers, and honestly, if you want to see more of my rankings, check the video on the end screen right now where I rank every single villain set, and I'll see you in the next one.